Hi guys, it's Krystal. So today I'm going to show you how I do at-home waxing. So I basically wax my eyebrows, my mustache, and my nose hairs at home. Now, I don't have a full-on mustache and I don't have a really hairy nose, but we do have like hair here and there that we don't like. So I'm one of those people. So I wax it at home. What I use is this GiGi wax-free microwave wax. I got it at Sally's. I don't remember the price, but if I find it, I will list it down below in the description box. So yeah, this product is amazing. You don't need any strips. It's strip-free. This is what the wax looks like. As you can see, I've used it a ton, but this is what it looks like when it's dry. I find that this is a really easy product to use at home. However, I do want to give you a warning. I am not a professional, but I do know that if you're on any type of skin treatments, whether it's like acne treatments, oral or topical, do not do any waxing because your skin is going to be more sensitive than it normally is, and waxing can cause your skin to tear off when you do the actual wax. So for instance, when I was a teenager, I was on Accutane 3 times because my skin, well, because I had really bad acne. And at one point I got off the Accutane, or I was done taking my treatment. I think it might have been like a month after, or maybe like 3 weeks after. And then I went to get my eyebrows waxed, and when the guy was gonna do my eyebrows, we just started talking before he started doing my eyebrows, and he's like, oh, you have lots of hair, like my head of hair, you have lots of hair. And I said, oh yeah, I do, but it used to be a lot thicker. And then he's like, oh, why? And I'm like, well, I was on Accutane and one of the side effects is hair loss. So ever since I was on that, you know, my hair has gotten thinned out a little bit, but I still have a lot, just not as much as I used to have. And then he said, oh, when did you get off of it? And I was like, well, 3 weeks ago, a month ago. And he's like, oh, you know, I don't know that I can wax your brows. I gotta go check with somebody. I'll be right back. So I went to talk to his manager or whatever, came back and said, I'm really sorry, but I'm not gonna be able to wax your eyebrows today because since you recently got off your Accutane, you know, your skin's gonna be more sensitive and I could rip your skin off basically. So luckily we had that conversation because otherwise that would have been a nightmare. And so after that I did my research on waxing, and definitely if you're on any type of skin treatment, acne treatment, don't do waxing because you will rip your skin. It's just not going to be a pretty thing. So that's just a warning before we get started, and I hope this is helpful for those who are not on any type of acne medications or skin treatments. And if you are, you might want to just consult like a dermatologist or something prior to do the at-home waxing. So I'm not on any treatment, so I went ahead and just bought this and went for it, and I actually have been loving it ever since. I've been doing it for probably about a month and a half, maybe 2 months now, and I love it. I'm obsessed. Waxing my eyebrows has really helped define them better because it gets all the little peach fuzz hairs under and on top, and it just makes my eyebrows look crisp, clean, just much better than they did before. Before I was using like an eyebrow razor to kind of shave the hairs right here, and I did like that, but the hairs would grow back really fast, so I would have to keep shaving it, and then it would leave little bumps on my skin just because of, you know, the harsh razor that I was using. So I much prefer the waxing. So anyway, with all that said, let's just go ahead and get started. So I just want to groom my eyebrows a little bit before I wax them. So I'm going to take this kind of brush. I'm going to use this end of the brush right here. So then I'm going to take these eyebrow scissors here, and I just like this part of the brush better than the spoolie. So I'm going to use that to comb up the hairs and then trim the very upper part of the hairs. Just a little bit, you know, not too much. You don't want to go overboard. Okay, and then I also like to comb the hairs down at an angle. And when you comb it at the angle, you'll see like a little bit of the hairs that are too long. So I'm just going to trim those up a little bit. And then these ones I like to comb kind of down, and they're not too long because I did trim them recently. Okay, that's probably good enough. So I'm going to do this side over here, and now these eyebrows on this side, the hairs grow straight upward, so it makes it a little easier for me to trim. I don't have to use the brush so much. This is hard doing on camera, I'll tell you that. That's probably good enough. And then I'm going to comb them downward. So you can use this part of the brush too. You don't necessarily have to use the kind of more sparse end. Whatever works for you. There we go. That's probably good enough. See, just from combing my hairs, my skin gets really red, so you're gonna see that my skin gets very red after I wax. So for the wax, I'm going to use this GiGi strip-free microwave wax. I got mine at Sally's, and I can't remember how much it was, but this is what I've been using, and I love it because you don't have to use any strips. This is what it looks like. It's kind of runny right now, but this is what it looks like when it's microwaved. So you want to put this in the microwave for 15 seconds at a time, but no longer than 1 minute. So you should do 15 seconds. If it feels too hard, then put it in for another 15 seconds. And you want to keep doing that until you get the right consistency. So you want it to be not too runny and not too thick, kind of in between. So the next thing you're going to need are these small wooden applicators. And I also got these at Sally's. And they have different sizes. I got the small size. I think these were the smallest size. So that's what they look like. They just look like a popsicle stick. So I'm just going to stick it in the wax, and I'm going to stir it around just to kind of mix it up, get the right consistency, because there's some parts of the wax that are a little harder than the other parts of the wax. Some is really runny. So I just want to mix it around to get the right consistency. And I'm just going to take another wooden applicator because that one's kind of, you know, dipped pretty far in the little container. So I don't want to have the wax all the way up till this point. I want it to only be at the tip of the applicator. So just a few things when you start. As you can see, I do have all these little hairs right here. We're going to wax those off. And not only do you want to wax under your eyebrow, but you want to wax all the little peach fuzz hairs above your eyebrow. It really just will help clean up the eyebrows, make them very crisp and shaped very nicely. So first I'm going to do the bottom portion, and then I'm going to put some on the upper portion, and then I'm going to rip it off the bottom and then rip it off the top. So you want to pull your skin taut, and you want to get it as close to your eyebrows as you can without getting it on your actual eyebrow, because you don't want to wax your eyebrows off. So you got to work quickly, because the wax will start to dry and get hard, and then it won't adhere to your skin very well. You can always go back in and dip your little wooden applicator back into the wax and add a little bit more. So the hairs that we don't get with the wax, we will go back in with tweezers so that we can tweeze them. So sometimes you get kind of far down, but that's not a problem. Alright, so while that's drying, I'm going to apply it on the upper portion of the eyebrows. Whoa, that's really close. And you want to put your like a headband or something on so that you pull your hair back, because you can get these little baby hairs flying into the wax and then they get stuck. So I just recommend that you put your hair back if you can. So that's good right there. We're gonna wait till this bottom one dries a little bit more so that we can just wax it off. I like to do one eyebrow, take it off, then do the other side and take it off. I also like to do the middle section, but if it feels a little bit sticky, it's not quite dry. So it's drying up pretty well though. So what you want to do, when it's ready to remove, you want to lift up the corner a little bit like this, and then you're going to pull your skin taut, just pull it kind of tight, and again lift up the skin, or lift up the wax a little bit so that you can get a good grip on it. So pull your skin taut, and then you're just going to rip it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. And as you can see, got all those hairs off of my eyebrows. And there's a lot more than you can actually probably see. Like those are the bigger hairs, but there's always a ton of little hairs as well. So as you can see, I got most of the big hairs. Now there still is some little pieces, you know, but we're gonna go back in with the tweezers to tweeze those. And my skin is very sensitive, so it gets very, very red when I do this, but don't worry, it goes away within like 30 minutes. But that's just how my skin is. So now I think this one's pretty ready for the most part. So I'm just going to lift up the corner. And again, you want to pull your skin, get a little grip on it, and then pull it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Do this side. A little closer to the inner portion, although most of my hair is not in that inner section. See what happens if it starts to dry too quickly? It doesn't adhere to the skin as well. So you might have to go back in and get some that's pretty wet, pretty runny. And get this side as good. As you can see, there's some hair there. So if that happens, it's most likely because you didn't let the wax dry enough. So I am going to add a little bit back on there. Sorry, I didn't push record, so I didn't get this part recorded, but what I like to do is I like to wax my mustache. It's not like I have a full-on mustache, but I do have little hairs that I don't like there. So instead of like shaving them, I just wax them. It's easy because it gets more hairs and they just kind of don't grow back as fast. So what I like to do is apply the wax on one side and then just rip it off like I did with the eyebrows. So I'm just going to pull on the skin here on my cheek. Just rip that off. I got the fan on because it's hot. It was like 80 degrees today, but this fan's not helping me right now with the wax. It's making it dry too quickly in the tub. So while that's drying, I'm going to apply it right here in the middle of my eyebrows because nobody wants a unibrow. That's good. So the eyebrows didn't wax as well on this side for some reason. So we'll just pluck those little hairs out. It's not going to get every single hair, it just doesn't. So I always go back in with my tweezers to pluck out the excess hairs.
So while these two are drying, I'm just going to go ahead and pluck those eyebrow hairs. Hopefully you guys can see, but I'm just going to get some tweezers. I think these are by Revlon. Nothing fancy. As you can see, I had to pluck out quite a few. It's not like the wax is just going to give you that perfect wax to look. You do have to do some tweezing. Alright, so that's good on the tweezing. I'm just going to go ahead and rip off this wax here. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove this piece. It's going to lift it right here. And then lastly, I want to wax just the very rim of my nose. So I'm going to take the wax on the end of this and just stick it right in my nose, and then I'm going to pinch my nose so that the wax adheres to both sides of my nostril. I want it to adhere to the hairs on both sides all the way around, so that's why you're going to do that. Just let it dry. Now if your nose is kind of runny like mine, like I feel like I'm getting sick, but if it's kind of runny like mine, then it may not stick very well. So yeah, it didn't really stick to the inside of my nose, but that's okay. So I like to pinch my nose and then just yank it out. And it's crazy how much you get. It's kind of gross, actually. See all those hairs? Alright, so after you have waxed, you want to take some kind of wax residue remover. This one I also got at Sally's. You could probably use just olive oil. I mean, you don't have to buy a specific product. I guess any type of oil will do, but obviously you want to use something that doesn't break you out. So this one's by Suddenly Smooth, and it's just an oil. So you want to take some cotton rounds, and I'm just going to put a little bit of the oil on the cotton round, and then you want to use this to remove any residual wax off of your skin. So usually I'll just have a few little pieces of wax, nothing too crazy. See, I have a couple pieces of wax right here, so this kind of helps soften it up and not stick to the skin so much.
So I hope that was helpful for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys have any questions, please leave them down below in the description box. I will be glad to answer them as soon as I can. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.